About 4,000 years ago, in a city near the Euphrates, a woman ran a bar. She sold beer, and when a regular couldn't pay, she didn't throw him out, and she didn't take a goat instead. She put it on his tab. He settled up at harvest. We know this because it's written into the law. Hammurabi's code fixes the rate. 1 keg of beer on trust, 5 measures of grain when the crop comes in. Now here's the part that should bother you. Nobody in that bar was using coins. Coins didn't exist yet. They wouldn't exist for another 1,000 years or so. So if money came from barter and coins came from money, what exactly was that tab? You already know the origin story of money. Watch how many places it goes wrong. Once upon a time, people bartered. You had chickens, I had shoes, we traded. But barter is clumsy. I have to find someone who has exactly what I want and wants exactly what I have at the same moment. That's rare. So somebody clever picked one thing everyone wanted, silver or cattle or salt, and used it as a go-between. Silver becomes coins, coins become paper, and paper becomes the number on your phone. Adam Smith laid this out in 1776 in a chapter called Of the Origin and Use of Money. He described a butcher with more meat than he can eat, and a baker who has nothing the butcher wants. It's a wonderful story. Clean, logical, easy to teach, and it ended up in basically every economics textbook since. There's just one problem with it, and it's a big one. Smith had no evidence for any of this. He was imagining how it must have gone. So for the next century and a half, once there were anthropologists to do it, people went looking for Smith's village. They went to the Pacific Islands, the Amazon, the Arctic, Africa, Siberia. And every time they found a community with no currency, the expectation was the same. This is where we'll finally see barter. Nobody found an economy running on it, not one. In 1985, the Cambridge anthropologist Caroline Humphrey summed up a century of fieldwork in one sentence. No example of a barter economy, pure and simple, has ever been described, let alone the emergence from it of money. What they kept finding instead is that people who live close together don't haggle. They keep track. You give me a chicken today, and I owe you. Not a chicken exactly, just something when you need it. That's a tab, credit, running on memory and reputation, and it turns up absolutely everywhere. Now, barter is real. It does happen. It just tends to happen in the wrong order. A British soldier named Radford, an economics student before the war, spent 2 years in German prison camps and wrote up the economy he found inside them. Men swapped things out of their Red Cross parcels. Chocolate for jam, jam for soap. Within weeks, the whole camp was quoting prices in cigarettes. It's a lovely story, but look at who was doing it. Grown men who had used currency their whole lives, cut off from it, rebuilding something familiar. Barter arrived there after money, as a substitute for it. So if the barter economy never existed, what were people actually doing instead? To answer that, you have to go all the way back to the oldest writing on Earth. About 5,500 years ago, in southern Iraq, somebody invented writing. We have roughly 5,000 of these earliest tablets. So what's on them? It isn't poetry or prayers or the names of kings. Around 85% of them are accounts. Barley coming in, sheep going out, beer rations issued to workers with quantities, dates, and the official who signed off. Humanity's first written words weren't a story, they were a ledger, and that ledger ran on a unit called the shekel. A shekel was a weight of silver, about 8 grams, pegged to a fixed quantity of barley for accounting purposes. And this is where the textbook story starts to break. The silver mostly stayed put. It sat in the temple and the palace, working as the yardstick far more often than the payment. Out in the city, in the bar, in the fields, people ran tabs and settled at harvest. in grain, in labor, in whatever they had. Which brings us back to that woman selling beer. Because Mesopotamia didn't just have credit, it had a legal system built to manage it, and it's far more sophisticated than you're expecting. Around 1750 BCE, King Hammurabi carved his laws into a 7-foot block of black stone. Tucked into that code, in a section somebody later scraped off the stone but which survives on clay copies, are rules that sound uncomfortably familiar. Legal caps on interest. 20% a year on a silver loan, 33 1/3 on grain. Babylon was regulating creditors before anyone had invented a coin for them to lend. And there was a reason they needed it. When a harvest failed and a farmer couldn't pay, the debt didn't just vanish. He pledged his family. Law 117. If a man sells his wife, his son, or his daughter to cover a debt, they serve 3 years, and in the 4th year, they go free. You don't write a law like that unless it's happening. So Mesopotamian rulers did something we'd find unthinkable. Every so often, a new king would take the throne and cancel the debts. Not the commercial loans between merchants, the ones eating ordinary families. The Sumerians had a word for it, amagi. Scholars translate it as freedom or release, and it literally means return to the mother. Debt slaves went home. The earliest we can name is Enmetena, around 2400 BCE, whose inscription says, he restored the child to its mother and the mother to her child, and cancelled the interest. They had interest rates and legal limits on them. They had debt bondage and a term limit on that too. They even had debt forgiveness. That's a working financial system, running for more than 1,000 years before anybody minted a coin. So what were coins actually for? The first coins we know of were struck in Lydia, in what's now Western Turkey, around 600 BCE, give or take a few decades. Lumps of electrum, a natural gold and silver alloy. The earliest ones were blank. Later they started stamping them, and the famous type carries a lion. And here's a detail I find genuinely strange. Stamped coinage turns up in 3 separate places within a couple of centuries. Anatolia, northern India, where the dating is fiercely argued over, and China, where a mint at Guangzhou has been radiocarbon dated to between 640 and 550 BCE. Now, the leading explanation is a good one, and it's still a guess. What those regions had in common was professional armies, and the mercenaries who staffed them, thousands of armed men moving through country where nobody knew their names. A tab only works if I know you and expect to see you again. A soldier passing through your town for one night is a stranger, and a stranger's promise is worth nothing. Metal fixes that. It settles instantly and needs no trust at all. Numismatists argue about this, fairly. Even the smallest early Lydian fraction was worth about a week of food, which is a strange thing to hand a soldier. But nobody disputes what coins are good at. Settling with a stranger, on the spot, forever. But there's an objection to all of this that could take the whole video down, so let's take it seriously. The version of this argument that reached the widest audience came from the late anthropologist David Graeber, and his critics land real hits. George Selgin says Smith was talking about trade between strangers, not neighbors. So proving that villagers keep tabs doesn't prove Smith wrong. Jeffrey Hummel goes further. He argues Graeber defines barter so narrowly that barter never existed ends up being true by definition. And the book has errors. There's a footnote about the founding of Apple that's wrong in about 4 separate ways. Those are fair criticisms. But notice what none of them do. Nobody has produced the barter economy. The tablets still say what they say. Credit is documented first, by thousands of years. And if credit really came first, you'd expect to find it still running entire countries long after coins were everywhere. You do. In England, it nearly took the government down with it. For 700 years, the English treasury recorded debts on sticks of wood. You cut notches for the amount, split the stick lengthwise, and each party kept a half. The grain of the wood made forgery almost impossible. Those sticks circulated. People bought and sold with them. The system limped on inside the treasury until 1826. Then in 1834, the government decided to burn the leftovers. They stuffed 2 cartloads of tally sticks into the coal furnaces under the House of Lords, the flues overheated, and the Palace of Westminster went up. Britain burned down its own parliament with a bonfire of its own, I owe us. Open your banking app right now and look at the number. You don't own anything. There's no gold in a vault with your name on it. That number is a record of what the bank owes you, sitting in a ledger. Same technology as the clay tablet. We just changed the writing surface. A British diplomat called Mitchell Innes put it bluntly back in 1913. Money, he wrote, is credit, and nothing but credit. Your money is somebody else's debt to you, and the moment they pay it, your money disappears. Debt isn't the thing that happened after money was invented. Debt is the thing money was invented to measure. And that matters, because if you believe the barter story, a debt is a fact of nature. If you believe the tablets, a debt is a decision, and decisions can be revisited. The Sumerians did exactly that, more than once. They had a word for it.